Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
It's
recording
true.
in progress.
It's true, you fucking suckers, you hot
We're
dogs.
back.
We're here, man. It's
We took
in the
a
virtual
month.
universe.
We took a month off. Corona. It's fucking going right now, man. Oh, yeah. We were taking a sip. Cheers, my friend.
Oh, cheers. You know,
what are you drinking over there?
I'm drinking some. What is this? The Guatemala. It's a Guatemalan coffee. That's what I'm drinking.
Right.
And of course a LaCroix.
Oh, I don't have any. I didn't have any LaCroix, so I'm drinking I split. I have some unsweetened grapefruit juice that I've cut like 2/3 grapefruit, 1/3 of tangerine juice.
Ooh, interesting.
It's surprisingly well balanced. Still got that grapefruit tart, you know.
Oh yeah,
but I don't feel like
it's gotta have more flavor.
Grapefruit juice, you just feel like you're gonna die after a sip, you know.
It can hit you pretty fucking hard.
You're just like it completely sucks all the moisture out of your mouth. It's so tart.
I've never been a huge fan of grapefruit in general, but like
I
just because of that,
grapefruit.
like I mean, like it's just like that. It's mostly just the tartness. Like I get tartness. I like tartness in certain aspects, but I've never been one of those people that's just gonna like fucking bowl of grapefruit in the morning. You know,
I'm not one of those guys. But if you like, I really like blood oranges. I really like grapefruit. If I'm gonna have a very rich breakfast, I'll have I'll have a quarter of a grapefruit. You know.
Okay.
Like it just cut that fucking heft, you know. If you're doing eggs, potato, bacon, give me a bit of grapefruit juice or some grapefruit.
Yeah. So I used to work at this place where we served fresh squeeze pints of like OJ or a grapefruit juice, or we'd make mimosas, you know, with it. But I always I never got down with the grapefruit juice. I'd make myself like a mimosa every now and then, and it would be it would just, I don't know. It was like I drink it out of obligation of using the champagne. You know what I mean?
Like, you know, I feel like sometimes grapefruit juice borders on those wake up shots. You know,
dude, it's a punch. It feels like sometimes whew.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about grapefruit juice.
Folks, we're here to punch you in the face with some news.
We got so much to talk about because, like you said, we haven't recorded in a hot minute.
The holiday break was good. Hot dogs, corn dogs. Such other words. We hope that you guys had a good little holiday or whatever you celebrate. If you choose not to celebrate, we hope you had a good month. You know, hope the New Year's treating you well so far. Oh, yeah. We're not recording in person, so you can sort of tell how that went for us.
It'll be fine next week, and next week we'll also be recording an. He says that. He says that now. Next week we'll also be recording, hopefully in person, with our buddy Ryan. So something to look forward to. We'll say 2022 is going to be good.
Local Yokels has been retitled Locals Only.
Yeah. So I don't know if I ever told you this.
Term optimization.
That was the first title I came up with, but it was a lot longer because I always liked really long titles for songs and stuff like that. So the original thing was Locals Only, and then in parentheses, shh, don't tell anyone.
That's funny. I'm doing the rebrand. I'm probably gonna put that as a subtitle, maybe in the corner, you know.
Dude, I think I'd say go for it. But yeah, you're right. We got that'll be changing up. We got some some
interesting things coming,
energy and stuff coming your way. But that being said, all the shows are gonna be maintaining, man. Everybody's ready to go. It's super fucking encouraging, you know.
We are feeling it here at Old Heart Radio this year.
Right.
It's gonna be a big year for us.
That's right.
Prepare
thyself.
But we gotta stick to the basics. How do we usually start this show, man?
You gotta do it.
Here it is. Fucking the gaming minute, you know? we've had some big fucking news this week.
Dude,
you messaged it to
even
me.
I know that there's some news this week.
When Jared hears that there's fucking gaming news, the world has been shaken.
Yeah, dude.
Xbox bought Bethesda a year ago.
Which
big fucking deal. It was
was
the biggest acquisition in the history of gaming. They're gonna fucking buy Activision if they don't get shot down by antitrust. But holy shit, that's crazy. Activision is the third largest publisher in gaming, only beaten by like Tencent and like another Chinese company.
It's fucking nuts.
It's fucking crazy. And you know, I think a year ago this one happened. I think what's crazy is that there's been, I don't know if you've been keeping up with all the Activision lawsuits going on lately.
No, not so much.
Activision has been in hot water for the better part of like 2021 into the new year, because Activision has become notorious. Like gaming is already a very unsustainable career path for a lot of people.
Gotcha.
They bring on a lot of short-term staff, promising to hire them on permanently, and then they do huge layoffs.
Damn.
Yeah, and like that's been a big thing with the Call of Duty studios, is that like they'll do like 3-month-long stints and they'll lay everyone off.
Dude,
and
then that's a fucking wild, like, what?
Yeah,
I mean that's clearly like just not like that's bad business practice.
Yeah,
for anybody that gives a shit about people working.
Exactly, and I mean, what sucks is that gaming is it's like a true like craft and art, and a lot of people really care about that angle of it. Activision has become like notorious. They're up there with fucking the Fortnite guys. Why am I forgetting that studio's name? Epic.
Epic. Okay.
Epic Games are just like known as these like money hungry fucking billionaires at the top.
Damn.
And there's this whole, like, it was a terrible culture apparently, laden with like sexual harassment claims as well that they've been dodging for years. The state of California right now is heavily investigating, and they're actually in the midst of like 3 lawsuits against Activision over the sexual harassment claims and their lack of willingness to address them in a timely manner. I think, and it really came to light, if I'm remembering right, one of the victims killed herself last year.
Oof.
I know, some serious shit, and people started speaking out, and it's a real shame that happened, but it put Activision in such a terrible PR situation and in such a volatile state where they're going to take a big fucking financial hit from this.
Yeah.
And with Call of Duty being down 40% this year, it's like they have less money coming in. Like this wouldn't have happened like a year ago.
Yeah. That's interesting that all this fuckery created a pocket, made the company vulnerable enough for like another entity like Microsoft to move in, and be like, well, we'll give you 70 billion.
Yeah, I think that this is going to happen though. I think it's not going to get shot down. Antitrust got brought up, but the thing is that like Microsoft was deemed a monopoly in the 90s by the U.S. government for software development. It's specifically around computers and like word processing.
Yeah.
And there's a reason it's called word processing, Microsoft Word. And the US government never did anything about it. So they're going to fucking absorb Activision in like a year when the deal eventually passes.
Yeah, and honestly, that'll be interesting to see how that impacts. I mean, just how it impacts gaming, like what the ripple effect will be, because things are just going to get more entrenched, man.
I've interesting thoughts about that though, because like number one, Nintendo's not going to be hurt by this.
Well, no, Nintendo is like Nintendo's above everything. It's just Sony. It's Sony's gaming that might be impacted.
Well, yeah, I think
that's the direct rival.
People buy Nintendo consoles, like the Steam Deck just came out. I don't know if you heard about that.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Nintendo Switch for PC games, but it's not going to put a dent in Nintendo because the portability of a Nintendo console doesn't matter. People buy Nintendo consoles so they can play Legend of Zelda and Mario and Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. Like their whole system isn't centered around the system. It's centered around the content and the characters that have been around for fucking so long.
Everything
These
Nintendo
other
does, their bread and butter's in house.
Yeah, but companies like Microsoft up until this point, they haven't been able to establish too many long running characters for their video games. You know,
I mean, when you think Halo,
you think of Master Chief like in Halo when you think of Xbox
and
games,
Gears
probably.
of War, maybe, you know,
maybe, but not even that.
Forza.
Like really, like that pops into your head if you're like really thinking like Xbox. Like there's one, you know, like Mario is fucking like iconic and like synonymous with Nintendo.
Mario is like gaming's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. It's, and you know, it's when Sonic became like basically like the Sega fucking mascot for a while.
Yeah,
they tried to own that.
Sega doesn't use fucking consoles. They don't make consoles anymore. They're on Nintendo.
Yeah,
I think it's right.
Yeah, Nintendo won that fucking console war. It's just interesting because we're really watching that modern day console war. You know, it's no longer Nintendo and fucking Sega. It's you know, Microsoft versus Sony, but Microsoft also happens to be a huge fucking company with their hands in so much.
Here's what I find so interesting, and it's why I'm like sort of okay with this, is that Microsoft is being their model is about being consumer friendly to gamers. They're used to being nickel and dimed. Like the Game Pass now has 26 million subscribers only 2 years after release.
Which is awesome.
It's awesome. And think all these Activision games are going to come to Game Pass.
Well, exactly, but that's always the worry, though, right? That's the exact that's the same logic that goes into the worry, is that like all of these things will be available on this one thing.
But that's the other thing. Microsoft's most profitable gaming franchise is not Microsoft exclusive. It's not Xbox exclusive.
Which is what?
Minecraft.
Oh, well, okay. That makes sense, but like, I guess what I'm saying is like, I mean, you can't expect them to like, I guess, make exclusive just like broad stroke everything, you know, because that probably would be bad business moves.
Well, I do think like as an example, they absorbed Bethesda, and Bethesda, it's a very highly acclaimed gaming company, but their audience is always niche, and it's more niche than like Activision's audience. They had a specific kind of game that they were known for making. And whenever it was released, it wouldn't be like in the top 10 games sold that year, but it would be highly acclaimed by the wider gaming community. Okay. I think it's a different beast than Activision. Call of Duty 2021 Call of Duty Vanguard, down 40%, still the top selling game of the year.
Fair.
Overall profits still beaten by Fortnite, but in just units sold, Call of Duty Vanguard wins. And it's like, what's the point of chopping that in half if you're Xbox? You know, Activision has such a wide marketability already. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see this as console exclusives, you know? I'd be surprised if they keep selling it to PlayStation users, but this is more a play to cater to all the people that subscribe to Game Pass and really make that their bread and butter. Because they'll be able to put everything on Game Pass.
I would hope so. I imagine that, like, you know, it might be a move to, like, you know, chop it up and see, you know, which ones go exclusive and which ones don't. Yeah. Like you said, it would be really like, it would be unsmart to lose, you know, even a quarter of the profit from some of those things. You know what I mean?
I mean, like Minecraft is the perfect example. Like they already went that direction with that game. It's incredibly profitable. So why would they avoid it? They might make some stuff exclusive. They might give themselves time to exclusivity. But Microsoft is like their model right now is based around being consumer friendly and understanding what gamers want. And they're also very friendly with Sony. I don't think that this is a move where they're like, we're going to fucking crush the competition. Yeah. I think it's partially that. But I think it is more so leaning into, like, this is advantageous for us. It's advantageous. It's going to make us look good when these super desirable games all come to Game Pass and people only pay $15 a month for it. and we're going to be able to triple the amount of games released on that service every month because of this. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. They'll undoubtedly look really good if
they will, and
if
they'll
they
look,
acquire it all. But
and they'll look better if they let some of the stuff keep going to PlayStation.
Well, yeah, like that I think would put, you know, a demerit for some people, you know, permanently, and like they're in their you know, under Microsoft. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to fucking see, man, just because of that like wild consolidation of fucking gaming power.
It's so interesting, and it's like one of those things that really plays to the different areas of gaming communities. It's like from the outset, the stuff that people hear about and the big franchises that like the non-gamers know about are all going to be fucking controlled by Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. Is like the mainstream stuff is going to be under one company, but then the really innovative, interesting concepts are still going to be being made by indie developers. And that stuff is only becoming more accessible as well to just normal people because of how ubiquitous the internet is and how social media is fucking everywhere now. Those games get a lot of traction. So it's like, it's interesting to see how this will affect it, because while Activision is huge, like there's so much that goes on under that core gamers find, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like I said, yeah, it's a shocking piece of business news, you know, in association to the video game industry. But you know, irregardless, it'd be interesting to see where it leads to if it does pan out, you know. And that being said, it's not like, it still hasn't been like for sure set in stone. It sounds like it's like the proposals out there.
yeah, exactly. It could very well get shot down by antitrust.
So we'll see.
You know,
like you said though, I doubt it will. It doesn't seem like it will.
I don't think it will.
I don't know why. I don't know why they draw the line there.
I also sort of have faith that Microsoft is not going to fuck half of the like the core gaming like market, because it will look terrible for their brand. You know, they could either be cordial and just like take some money from Sony in exchange for them still letting them release the games.
Yeah,
but who the fuck knows? They're
already taking the hit from Bill Gates' image. So
exactly. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, you know, that's fucking wild. I started playing Skyrim for the first time. I told the UFR boys, but yeah,
I was listening to Under Further Review, as you should. Hot dogs, corn dogs, and other dogs.
And other dogs. It's a dog-friendly podcast.
Dog-friendly podcast. Are you a fucking cocktail wiener? Then yeah. No, it was, I saw that. Fucking classic. Good for you, man.
Somehow I accidentally got turned into a vampire. I can't remember if I mentioned that to them. So it was like I don't know how it happened. I don't know how, like I didn't get like bitten by a vampire or anything. I put on some fucking vampire armor for a little bit. And then I wandered around, and then I took it off because it started telling me my blood was boiling. And and then I was like a fucking vampire like 3 days later. I was like, oh, what the shit?
There you go.
Yeah, now my eyes are glowing everywhere.
So I do have one more thing to bring us out of Gaming Minute. On my flights, I watched 2 movies. Creed, which is still fucking phenomenal. I don't know if you've watched or have any affinity for the Rocky movies.
I still haven't. I do like the Rocky movies. I do like the Rocky, except for like Rocky
Creed.
5.
No, dude, what the fuck? Who does? No, but watch Creed, incredible.
Yeah.
But more relevant to this, I watched Free Guy.
Oh yeah, okay.
Dude, and holy shit, it was good. It was really good.
That's what I heard, man. I heard it was really good.
I was very impressed, to say the least. I was like, nice. I kept like pausing it and being like, Kate, this is fucking sick. Like this is like you can tell when like Pixels with Adam Sandler. You can tell when it came out in like 2016. Okay. You can tell when a video game or like video game culture adjacent movie is made by people that don't understand it.
Oh, yeah. And I remember the movie you're talking about, Pixels.
Yeah. So. And they don't understand the culture, and they just sort of like have like seen the major iconography.
Yeah. Like I know what Miss Pac-Man is.
Exactly. But like Free Guy was made by people that fucking love games and like understand the culture behind the development and the response to gaming.
It seemed really like, I'm not knocking it because it did look like it'd be pretty entertaining, but it seemed kind of similar to like, it had some of the similar appeal to that movie that came out like a few years ago.
Ready Player One?
Yeah, that was based on the Ready Player One.
Better than Ready Player One, let me tell you.
You know, it's like there's so much draw to being like, you know, like all the clips you see for Free Guy online are like, you know, him getting the Captain America shield or like, you know, stuff like that, where it's like they use a lot of like imagery and icons from other things throughout the movie.
The Captain America shield and the lightsaber are the most overt, probably because of the music.
Okay.
But there's a lot of other like references to, it's never like, this is from Fortnite, this is from Halo. It's very much like in the background, you know?
Okay. Cool.
He uses the Mega Buster from Mega Man at one point.
Shit.
But it's never like, well, you see that? That's from Mega Man.
Yeah.
You like this movie now. It's just sort of like quick flashes. The Scorpion from Halo's in it, the tank.
Oh, dope. Yeah.
And it's in the background running over some cars, you know?
Okay.
And like that's
I think that's kind of cool. Because like sometimes they can go just like in a really bad direction with when they try to like, you know, really go too far with, I don't know.
You know, I just thought
some of those iconic things.
I thought it was surprisingly good. Nice. You know, and I was the trailers for that movie made it look like it was like this cheap, sort of shitty, tongue-in-cheek type game movie, you know?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was like really well thought out. And I finished it and I was like, I would watch that again in like a heartbeat. And I don't say that for a lot of blockbusters. It was very interesting. It was very interesting. And I would recommend you to watch it, recommend the listeners to watch it, because I think it's gonna sort of fall into like this cult classic status over the next few years. Okay. Because it did well at the box office, but it didn't set any records. And I think it's probably doing really well digitally right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if over the next few years it's looked back at, I don't know, like Tron Legacy, you know? Like a movie that sort of got lost for a few years and then people were like, that was pretty good, wasn't it?
Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to keep looking for it. Because like I said, I was intrigued by it. I've just been waiting for it to pop up.
I think it's on Hulu.
Is it?
I think.
Oh damn, that'd be
because cool. It's technically a Disney film, but it's like one that like not.
They couldn't put it on Disney
not
Plus.
Disney labeled. So it's probably on Hulu.
It's not Disney Plus enough.
Yeah,
but it's Hulu enough for sure.
Exactly.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, so, that's interesting. That's pretty cool.
Shall we keep it rolling out of the game minute?
Rolling. Let's see.
Rolling. How about like a rock?
Yeah,
rolling like a diesel.
So, I think I know where you're going with this.
I love the Fast and Furious drama we've been getting over these past few months.
There's since we last recorded, we kind of had another bit of drama happen with the family, you know.
We watched the Forza trailer a while back. I showed it to you, and while the trailer was going, just during some what would be dead air, you found like a Facebook post from Vin Diesel or something.
Oh yeah,
where it was him being like, no one else can play Hobbs. Come back to the family.
It was like this weird, desperate public attempt from Vin Diesel to like sway The Rock to join the cast for the final Fast and Furious, and it was so strange. It was
bizarre.
It was just absurd.
It was so dramatic as well.
But The Rock responded fucking finely though, didn't he? Like
and it really honestly, not The Rock's response. It really upset me about Vin Diesel, you know?
Yeah, to learn some of the like the context of what some of the things he said.
Yeah, where it was just like The Rock coming out and being like, "We talked about this, man. I'm not gonna do it. We talked about this man to man. We did it privately. We agreed on our points." And he was like, and I was like, "Fuck!" So this has already been settled. Vin Diesel was just making a public statement for the sake of it. And what upset me more was, and it's something that completely brushed over me, when you were reading it, but The Rock was like, it really upset me that he brought up his kids and he brought up Paul Walker.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like,
strange.
likewise, it really, I found it went from like laughable when we read it on the podcast to being like somewhat upsetting in hindsight.
I mean, it's still really fucking laughable, but it's just it makes Vin Diesel look more dickish, and
makes him look really petty.
And that's kind of the weird thing. It's like, yeah, it's like, you know, if you knew somebody that just recently died and somebody was just like, hey man, like, come over to this barbecue, man. Like, you know, your friend fucking Charlie really wanted it. He didn't want it. Like, if he was still here today, man, he'd want you there. Like, you know,
yeah.
Because like, I mean, let's be honest. Like, The Rock hasn't been in like he wasn't in the last Fast and Furious movie. He did the Hobbs and Shaw thing, which I hope they don't do another one, honestly. Like, because I wish they would just focus their energy on the rest of the Fast and Furious movies and just make those as grandiose as fuck and just conclude the whole thing.
What was the deal with that Hobbs and Shaw like cyber cult? Maybe that's the setup.
That's the thing. Like, I mean, it was like that movie was just as fun as like a Fast and Furious movie where it's just like, you know, mindless big events happening and you're just like, what the fuck does that, what, like, how did The Rock survive that? Like, you know,
it was Fast and Furious mixed with a bit of fucking like very sappy like 80s action film, you know, even more
sort of. It was like it had like,
it's like I could see that movie being made
it was like
in the 80s with Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know.
Oh, definitely. That's the
in
kind of like
the place of Jason Statham.
And that's what I mean, where it's like, you know, I don't know. It like, and looking back on it, I don't love it nearly as much as I love like the rest of the Fast and Furious movies for how stupid those ones are.
I also don't love Fast 9 as much as I love the rest of the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah, same. And so like I don't need The Rock in it. And so like to have this like weird drama kind of be drawn out from the making of it, it's like, yeah, it does. It kind of makes you just go like, Vin Diesel, just fucking finish the franchise already. Okay.
Yeah. Finish. And like I feel like Vin Diesel is gonna like rap, or he's gonna leave like he's gonna be walking out of the theater at the end of the fucking last Fast and Furious movie, waving to press, and then he's just gonna like turn to dust, like Thanos snapped him away.
Yeah.
Like his life is done.
That'll be it.
That's gonna be it. He's just gonna dissolve. Who the fuck? Where's his selling power? You know? This is all he has left. And I think he's readily aware of the fact that The Rock was the best part of those movies.
I mean, I think he's aware that like that The Rock has turned into nothing but like a powerhouse in Hollywood, which is wild. You know, when he started,
more so than Vin Diesel ever was.
Well, for sure. Like, and when he started making, when Hobbs first appeared in those fucking movies, he was not nearly as star powered as he is now. And so like I think like that probably grinds Vin Diesel's gears a little bit when he's like, now our biggest star's walking away from us. Like, we built him up. Like, he would be nothing without the guidance that Vinny D gave him, you know?
Dude, I think Hobbs, the appearance of Hobbs in Fast and Furious like marked the start of Dwayne Johnson taking over the blockbuster like scene.
I mean, I think so too, because that was really like, up until then, he had like a handful of movies under his belt. None of them were really big. Like there's
the Tooth Fairy.
The Tooth Fairy. Yeah, like he did those like he had those like a few like
movies.
Disney movies. He did that one with Sean William Scott, like that, and Christopher Walken. That was like, what was it, The Rundown or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that was supposed to be a big movie, and I don't think that took off very much. No. Like, you know.
But I think it's this weird sort of like petty situation where I think The Rock is just done with it.
Yeah, dude, he's moving on to other shit, dude. He has a deal with fucking Warner Brothers to be their next big DC movie star. Like, he doesn't give a shit about what else is happening.
The Rock is like, I'm already scheduled to do like 45 movies next year, man. It feels like he's always shooting something. But
yeah.
I gotta shoot the next 40 seasons of Young Rock this year. So
Young Rock. That's what I mean though. Like it's The Rock like doesn't have to care about it at this point. Vin Diesel has to care about it because it's one of the only things that he has still going like solid in Hollywood.
Yeah, there's not gonna be a Triple X movie.
I hope not. I mean, the last one was so funny. Like it was such a good. Like I was surprised that they went a comedy route with that movie. You know, like,
I mean, what other way is there to
go? But you know, like the only other thing, I mean, it's the story of how, you know, Tokyo Drift the Tokyo Drift appearance happened, right? Like he got the rights to the Chronicles of Riddick shit through the Tokyo Drift appearance, and so it's like he could maybe try to develop series out of that. Like that stuff has fucking potential, but they've just never like properly done something with it. They went from like this like scary R-rated movie to like this weird like sci-fi fantasy epic that wasn't really, it was like a one movie epic. Anyway,
exactly.
But I
think it's interesting.
We'll see. I'm just interested to see how that goes. But I don't see them even making this up. Like there's nobody should hold their breath that The Rock's gonna make a last minute cameo in the fucking movie.
No,
I wouldn't be surprised if they write something in about how Hobbs died.
unless they're taking notes from fucking Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire here. It's like,
I mean, that would be the most insane thing. Like they pull off
if The Rock is actually like, they're just hamming it up for the public audience,
Yeah.
Which
no,
okay,
I hope that the Fast and Furious 10 ends the franchise with discovery of a Fast and Furious multiverse. Like I really do. Like there's other families out there. There's
bunch of portals open up. It's like actors that all look relatively similar.
All these 60-second cars come flying out of these portals.
So fucking Christ. It's like,
oh my God. Okay. So we gotta get off of Fast and Furious because we got so much other relevant shit to
quickly.
talk about.
Andrew Garfield might be getting plugged into Morbius, which is apparently why that movie was delayed.
I mean, like I understand it. Like the popularity of his resurgence is huge. I mean, there's been all these calls for like, him to join Tom Hardy and fucking Ed Hardy. Ed Hardy. I think
we should keep this brief because nothing's confirmed and we don't give a fuck about Morbius.
I really don't. But
having a Spider-Man in those Venomverse movies immediately gives them more of a reason to exist in my mind.
Yeah, it's basically they have to get the green light from Marvel to be able to do it. It seems like.
Really?
Not that I've read or anything. It just seems like like Sony could go ahead with it, but I don't think it. The only successes that they've seen are the successes that they've had paired with Marvel, and so.
Well, I think them throwing like an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, where now it is within the public conscience that there's a multiverse of different Spider-Men.
Yeah.
Like I don't think anyone's going to be confused like that. Like I mean, that's not Tom Holland.
Well, I don't think there will be necessarily a confusion there. I think it'll dilute the brand, the Spider-Man brand. You know what I mean? If you have multiple Spider-Man and actively in different things, I think eventually you might divide the fan base of Spider-Man itself into Andrew Garfield fans or, Tom Holland fans.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a gambit, isn't it? Right?
Mm-hmm. Like it is anytime you do something with that, like with characters like that, it'll be a gambit as soon as they pull off like characters that they've already done before. The more they do this, and so although I don't think anybody's going to be like, I really like Jessica Alba as Invisible Woman. I can't believe this new version of it.
Yeah, well, no, I think we've seen reboots, and I think I understand that dilution, but I think it's like unknown to see how two live action interpretations could run alongside each other,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't think it's been done to my knowledge, but
I was like, do I think the public appetite for something like that is stronger now and people will be able to understand it now? Yes.
Maybe. But you're also pairing it. You're also using the selling point of a Spider-Man to sell really shitty movies. And so once the first time that Andrew Garfield gives a performance in a really shitty Sony movie, that idea is fucking bad. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's the danger. And Marvel being the bigger company is that's what I mean. It's like they'll probably like look at it with a frown because they'll probably be like, you're potentially going to fuck up things for us.
Man, I think it's one of those things of like there's got to be balance, and I think it's going to either be figured out as all things should be.
Yeah, right? As all things should be.
I think it's going to be this like this interesting dichotomy, and it'll either be it works for Sony. They keep cranking out mediocre movies, but there's a Spider-Man in that universe, so they're slightly better now. Or they shit the bed and eventually Marvel just buys back the rights to those characters. You know?
Yeah, I mean, either way, I think it's a better move that they try it than they don't, just for like the sake of like if they want to keep trying to make movies like that.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, as much as I think like a storyline, you know, about Kraven the Hunter might be kind of cool, it's not like the, you know, the selling point for me to get my butt in a theater seat. You know what I mean?
I'd prefer to see it in the MCU, you know?
Oh yeah, and that's exactly the thing though, is that I feel like that'll start turning on people. Is like they'll see a shitty, you know, fucking Jared Leto 30 Seconds to Mars movie, and you know they'll be like, I'd rather watch an MCU movie, and then eventually Sony will just start losing more and more and more, and then you're right. Anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But I definitely think that would be a smart move if on Sony's part in general.
Yeah. You know, okay, back to the track that we were thinking that we were going to go on. The Batman's coming out. It's going to be 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Which, I mean, it supposedly is the longest Batman movie. I thought Batman, what was it? I thought The Dark Knight Rises was like fucking 5 hours long. It felt like. So
no, it's just like, a painfully slow movie.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that. I was like, that's the longest movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it seems like an interesting benchmark. It's clearly gonna flush out character shit for a lot of these characters, and so I think it's good to have an almost 3 hour movie because it gives you the time frame to do so. You know what I mean? If you push it closer to like 2 hours, like, or a little over 2, like that's not enough movie, man. So
I think and especially cool. with dropping us into this, what appears to be a relatively established universe with a bunch of characters.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't even talked Barry. I think his name's like Barry Koenig or something like that. He's the guy who played, he was in the Eternals.
Yeah. The Eternals. Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I did. That movie fucking blew, dude. That movie, like, I'm not, it had, you know, people can hate on it all they want, but like, or hate on me all they want, but it has nothing to do with any sort of like, I was talking to my younger brother about this. Like the cast is fine, I suppose. Like it's cool that they included some diversity. It, like the director had some really awesome like shots in the movie, like you'd expect from Chloe. And the thing was, it was just a bad story, and it was so like the thing that got like made me the most angry about the Eternals. Really quick, I'm gonna end this tangent really fast. Was the fact that like an active Celestial coming out of the fucking planet. Yeah. Like even like you know, half the amount it did would destroy the fucking planet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like
taking notes from Transformers, man. Like
they explained like how Thanos was able to wipe out half the fucking population. You know what I mean? With like these gems and stuff, but they did not explain how the Earth's crust magically fucking healed itself around the thing coming out of the core that breached multiple fucking like miles of surface. Like, you know, I was just like, and then to have Icarus just fly off into the fucking sun with this quick like, I'm going. And I was just like, I was like, I don't care. I don't care about this movie.
Next week maybe next week we dive deeper. I don't think we're gonna have as much news next week. We can dive deeper. I have some MCU stuff I want to talk about.
We can if we want to. I mean, I'm just gonna say I texted you about it, but it's definitely it's closer to Thor 2 in the lineup. You know, Thor 2 might even be a slightly funner movie. So,
it is more fun. I think Eternals is better, and Eternals has really cool moments, while the overall film is not very good. There's some cool ideas, some cool moments, but otherwise it isn't as a unit very strong, you know?
No, anyway, it was just
it's like a team of people that are all I'm not referring to the team, but I'm just using an analogous situation per se. It's like a team of any given sport where it's a bunch of really individually driven players that can't work together. It's like or a puzzle where none of the pieces completely fit together. There's like 5 pieces missing, where it's like these are such cool ideas, very cool concepts. Should have been 2 movies. in order to give everything time to breathe.
Yeah, but I mean, why make 2 shitty movies?
I've got. Well, this is actually.
I just don't like. It's just one of those. Like the Eternals could have just been like a background thing that you plugged into other movies. It didn't need to be a fucking movie in itself. You know what I mean? Like once you introduce the Fantastic Four, you introduce like way easy way into getting into like the galactic shit that they want to get into, which they've already started doing with other properties. But the Eternals is like, you see the characters and you're like, I don't have any attachment to these characters. You see how poorly they're all acted, and you're just like, I don't give a shit about these characters now. And then you're like, I don't find myself wanting more. like the coolest thing was the introduction of Blade at the end of the movie.
You know, we'll save this for next week because I have very differing thoughts from you on some things. Whatever.
But yeah, anyway, we were technically talking about the Batman.
Barry whatever, who was in Eternals, is going to be apparently playing the Joker.
Yeah, well, that's been the rumor. That rumor's been around for a while, and supposedly they did 2 versions of a test screening thing where one had this certain actor in a certain sequence in a role, and the other one didn't. And yeah, the rumor was that was him with a Joker presence at some point in the movie. I mean, sure. I think if you're already introducing a lot of characters, you don't want to introduce your Venom that quick, you know. But that being said, at this point in time, a lot of people argue that the Joker is just as iconic as Batman. So
absolutely,
you know, I think it's not like an unwise decision, but I think it's a dicey decision because you're looking at that situation where you might be jam packing the movie full of way too many introductions.
Yeah, leave it to DC to blow their load early on, though. So,
well, which would suck though, dude, because they have a lot of stuff riding on this. Like, it looks awesome. Like I would not have said this when we started talking about. I didn't say this when we started talking about the Batman movie. I didn't like Robert Pattinson looks fucking cool as Batman.
Yeah, he does.
I'm intrigued by that. The Riddler aspect, I'm actually really intrigued by, like why he's fucking with the city. You know, like I'm interested to see how further they go with it, including like the show that HBO is developing that's going to be, you know, following Jim Gordon. Gordon that's in this fucking movie.
Was it going to be called like Gotham PD or something?
I can't remember exactly, but it's directly tied to this. And Colin Farrell is even reprising his role as the Penguin in it. And so, you know, I mean, like, I'm interested. I don't want them to fuck this up. And I think somehow maybe including the Joker might be, especially off the cuff of Joaquin Phoenix's wildly successful version, like it might be too fast.
Might be too soon.
You know what I mean?
Talk about 2 characters of the same fucking or of the same 2 different versions of the same character existing simultaneously. There's a Joker 2 coming.
Yeah, I guess that's right, dude. They did greenlight that. That's fucking right.
Yeah.
Did you see that quote? Willem Dafoe was quoted as saying something to the effect of like he would love to play like a Joker imposter.
He can do that
alongside Joaquin or something. Like he doesn't want to like think about taking that role away from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that's a fun idea. I'd watch that.
Sure. I'd watch. Anyway, I think the idea of the Joker being in there will be interesting. I don't know if it'll. I hope if they use it, I think it maybe needs to be like near the end of the movie. You know.
Yeah, like, set up the Thanos. You know.
Exactly. Set up your big bad, but don't make him like, you know, doing much in the movie. That being said, dude, that movie looks fucking awesome, and I've seen it online. March is going to be the month, man. A good month. We got Batman at the front, and we'll talk about it later. You got Moon Knight coming out later that month. It's going to be fucking awesome.
And Morbius right in the middle. From the Dark Knight to the White Knight, I could say. What a segue. Moon Knight, you just said it.
Hold on. I want to finish. I want to talk about one more DC thing before we transition, because we know we're
such a good transition, though.
I know. But we have to talk about the Peacemaker show before we talk about more Marvel shit, because we're gonna just steamroll on the Marvel shit. Peacemaker came out with a 3-episode drop, which I wasn't expecting 3 episodes, but it was fucking awesome.
It was
with
great.
A capital
I'm 2 episodes in. I got back from a trip and I had sort of disconnected on my trip, and I watched the first 2 episodes of Peacemaker. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
enjoyed it so far.
It's
gonna
immediately
watch the next one tonight.
If it's cool because it follows up immediately from Suicide Squad, which was great that they just directly connected it, because like this is the aesthetic that they need to start going for, like in terms of some of their fucking properties, man. Like it has such a fucking fun feel, while there's also like these really heavy fucking moments with it, and you know, like it's so far 3 episodes. Like I said, we're not going to talk too much about it, but the 3 episodes so far is fucking impressive. Yeah, there's an episode that it airs Thursdays, I think. I just looked it up today. So there's a new episode tonight. We'll talk about it more next week, but go check it out if you haven't.
Likewise for Book of Boba Fett, we'll talk about that more next week, just for the sake of time.
Yeah.
So far,
we got so much.
Robert Rodriguez is directing, like he's still making Spy Kids. The 2 episodes of the 4, 2 and 4 are really good. You haven't watched 4 yet?
No.
But 2 and 4 are really fun. The train scene, I've had such fucking emotional whiplash with Book of Boba Fett, because that train sequence is phenomenal.
It was fucking awesome.
Fucking awesome. And then you get the shitty Vespa chase in the next one.
Yeah,
it looks like they're going 10 miles an hour.
That was the thing. Like even Dusty, like that's why Dusty, I think, was trying to talk shit about it when we recorded.
He did talk shit about
it. And I was like, hold on, I don't know what you're talking about. But he could have easily ruined it for me. I wouldn't have cared, because I was just like, I was like, are those fucking Vespas they're on? And like the entire time, and that chase was just lame duck, dude. Like
that's not my problem with it. The aesthetic of like the cyberpunk modders.
No. It was cool overall, but it was just like sort of funny that they all looked like Vespas.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if they played into that and it was funny, but the chase was actually good, that'd be different.
That would have been better.
The chase fucking sucked.
It was
just, it was a boring chase.
Yeah,
but
we'll talk more about it. Yeah.
Based on. I won't spoil it for you, but the end of episode 4, there's a big hint towards some characters that are going to be showing up.
Fuck yes.
And I think next week we're planning to record on Thursday. You're gonna have to catch up and watch episode 5 on Wednesday.
We'll just say
I think we'll have some stuff to talk about.
I'm really hoping that they pull more comic book characters into the fold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll leave it there though, because that's a whole thing to talk about.
There's a bunch of setup,
and like you were saying, man, there's so much. We got to touch on Moon Knight, because it's there's just so much Marvel stuff brimming at the moment, dude.
Now we're pretty much diving into Marvel.
Like it's
which I think before we talk about Moon Knight, I want to quickly throw out. I thought that fucking Miss Marvel was due to come out. Got delayed until next fall.
Oh, wild.
Yeah. I have no idea why. They haven't really publicly said anything, but it's going to be coming out in like October. So they really pushed that back. I think it's to keep it. I think they moved it so it can release relatively close to the Marvels.
Okay. That feels like
fresh in people's minds.
That feels like it'd make more sense in terms of just like, moving the brand.
I mean, they already said that that Carol Danvers and Monica Rambeau are due to show up in that show.
Yeah.
And if they take the leap from the end of that show directly into a team movie, that can be fucking cool in my mind. And I think you might lose some of that momentum, especially if the narratives are heavily tied together.
Yeah.
Or at least by the end, heavily tied together. You might lose some momentum by scoping that back. You know what I mean?
I think it'd be really cool if they use the Marvels as an opportunity to introduce, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that had this idea, but introduce the character Blue Marvel into the MCU. Blue Marvel, the most OP motherfucker out there, dude. Like, and he's basically just Superman, but also like way more smarter than Clark Kent. And so, like,
dude, they're bringing the Ultimates lineup together.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. And that's another exciting thing that's coming up. But yeah, like there's so much that's just brimming. I'm surprised that Miss Marvel got pushed back, but it does make sense when you frame it like that. I was also surprised. I was surprised when they did announce that fucking Moon Knight was coming out in March, dude. Like I thought, I didn't think that was coming out that quickly.
Pretty close, 2 months away to the day from when we're recording.
Damn. Okay, but we've oh man, that trailer when it dropped, like I heard that it was going to drop.
Trailer.
Check like fishing for it. I was when it finally popped up, I was so fucking impressed by it, dude. I was like, whoa, this trailer makes you like you really don't understand what's going on in the trailer, and that's exactly the feeling that you want with that fucking character. There are things happening
Ethan
but
Hawke.
you don't. Yeah, Ethan Hawke, man. Ethan Hawke looks like I'm not too familiar with the character he's playing, but he looks like a fucking cult leader.
One comic.
one
comic in the 70s and then never showed up again. So
that's
I think
I guarantee it's a one-off role.
Maybe. I actually sort of hope not, because I feel and this is something I wanted to bring up with you is like I feel like there's interesting opportunities with characters like that where they showed up once and they disappeared for some reason or other. And it's like the perfect opportunity for the MCU to like wink and nod at the comic book fans, like to really invest in people that know the history, but then create something essentially new,
Yeah, I mean, I think they could do that. I mean, a lot of times when you find characters that are one-off though in comics, they're one-off because they're lame characters. Like, and so that's the thing. It's like you potentially take these. I mean, it's cool to like try and reinvent them, but
so like the deal with this guy is that he was studying people and trying to shut down pain receptors in people's minds, and essentially to make them like killable, but not susceptible to feeling their own injuries. Okay. And the comic he was in left off on a cliffhanger with with AIM being like, we're going to fund you. Yeah, keep your project working. He was sort of set up as like an overarching antagonist for Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And then Moon Knight's run got axed.
Yeah.
And
Moon Knight was not a very popular comic when for a really long time. But
so it looks like he was supposed to be some like fundamental Moon Knight character.
That's cool. Like that kind of idea, I think is kind of neat. Then yeah, but yeah, the fucking the trailer that we got looks intense, man. There's so many cutaway moments where it gives you that feeling of like, you're not in control of what's happening. He's Oscar Isaac's character's waking up randomly and, with a gun in his hand in the truck, he gets that phone call from somebody being like, Mark, where the fuck, where have you been?
Yeah. And he thinks he's Steven, right?
Yeah. Steven, the guy that works at a gift shop.
Yeah. Man, I'm just intrigued because they can do some really interesting stuff with the narrative of this. They can do some very interesting things with the editing as well.
Yeah,
you can make it like fucking Memento.
Oh yeah,
I think they could do some crazy shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's 100% gonna be worth checking out. So
yeah, it's Marvel is in my opinion at their best when they do weird shit.
Oh yeah, totally.
And like when they really commit to a style. I think like you can see that with Guardians of the Galaxy. You can see that with Thor Ragnarok. You can see that with Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah,
like it's. When they are like, this is sort of rooted in this style of films or in this central idea, like, and they're the director or the writer, the screen or the oh my god, the fucking the head of the show really has a direction they want to take it where it can still nail being interwoven while treading new ground for the franchise is when I feel like Marvel's at their best.
Yeah, I agree. I think they really. When they go for the things that people don't expect from them, I think that's really where they've shined. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And that goes all the way back to the first Iron Man movie, where everybody was like, all right, we've seen comic book movies, and then they just blew your fucking dick off with the version that they put forth, and they invested in that aesthetic. And then you're right, like they have had pivotal moments along the way that work, and this is another opportunity to really kind of, I think, do that. Like smart, like. Moon Knight plays that like role, he rides that line between street level character and he gets bigger, because you find the depth to the let's say the god-like aspects to his powers and stuff like that.
They can really buy into the mythical elements as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I mean, it's really opening up like the wider scope of the universe, because I mean, until now, most normal fans probably think that they're only Asgardian gods,
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean. One of the fun things that they established with that was that they're not even gods; they're just aliens.
Exactly, that we've misperceived. But now there's going to be this probably other alien race somehow explain maybe like mystical race of Egyptian gods.
Oh yeah, it'll be interesting, man. It'll be really fucking interesting to check out. And you're right, like there's that's kicking the door open, I think, in March for like a new sort of look to some Marvel stuff, but there's also so much more coming at us, man. There's been so many
dude, for my birthday, man, we got Doctor Strange.
That's what I'm saying, man. That movie has grown in expectation.
I got a little gift there.
So
I found some shit about this. First off, you've probably seen the Tom Cruise Iron Man thing.
Yeah, definitely not stoked.
Definitely not a fan.
But I mean, that was definitely a thing, like back in the day, like he was supposedly up for audition for the role and stuff like that. Yeah. So,
which I think that's fun, maybe like in a 15-second capacity,
Yeah, it's fun in the capacity where it's like if you know that fact, then you know that fact. But if you didn't, you wouldn't give a shit about Tom Cruise playing a version of Tony Stark.
Yeah. But do you see the final battle details leak?
No.
Which it's so absurd that I'm going to read out here. Potential spoilers, obviously. But it's so ridiculous that I don't think it's true. But the image in my mind is so fucking crazy that I sort of want it to be, Okay. Final battle. It's Doctor Strange gets the Defenders together. And not like the Netflix ones, but like the Defenders from the comics, the more mystical team. Which that he leads in some context.
I mean, like you got to figure out who that's including. Though, is that Valkyrie, Hulk, Silver Surfer?
Well, I got the list here, man. I think it's just Defenders. I think the leak just says Defenders in place of like insert team name. Doctor Strange is leading them. They're the Defenders.
Gotcha.
Doctor Strange, Wong, Clea. Don't remember who that is. America Chavez, Rintra. Don't know who that is. Captain Carter, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, Magic, Magic, Anya Taylor-Joy, Quicksilver, Quicksilver,
Evan Peters
from X-Men, Evan Peters.
Thank God.
Ghost Rider,
Nick Cage.
Yes. Wolverine, Hugh Jackman.
I mean,
Icarus.
Dude, I don't give a shit about Icarus.
Human Torch.
Yeah, Chris Evans, right?
Chris Evans, Human Torch. Thor, but not just Thor. Natasha Romanoff, Thor.
What?
Invisible Woman and Jean Grey fighting against Wanda.
Interesting. I mean,
that can't be true, but like I said, the image is so ridiculous in my mind.
Yeah.
That I sort of hope it is, like it'd be fucking crazy.
Well, that's what I mean. Like it's wild that like, so you gotta think about this though. So they had such high public expectations of Spider-Man, right? And they had like all that shit in the back pocket, and they knew that they fucking owned it. Like they knew that like what was coming out was potentially like right. They just hit it all. It seems wild that they're like, all these leaks are happening and that they're really big. Now I'm like worrying about like, they don't sound too big anymore. You know what I mean? Well, where it's like, it seems like it could fucking happen because they pulled off some wild shit.
Here's my thing. And I think this is where context matters. I think with Sony, it's different than with Marvel proper.
Fair.
Because there were so many crazy leaks before Endgame, none were true. Like there were people that got like elements right, but it was never as thorough and as like ridiculous as the Spider-Man leaks that were all true.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean. So it's like you have, that's where you just don't know. It sounds like some of that's totally plausible, but it also sounds like some of that's just like why, like too wild, you know what I mean? But but again, you're just sort of like, I don't know. I just saw them pull off this stuff.
there is some stuff that I would expect to see. I mean, like James McAvoy shaved his head and Sophie Turner's hair is red again. So I mean, like maybe.
Which also sucks because it's like, I mean, like I'm not really like looking for them to like find ways to continue the X-Men stuff that they've laid forth, but it'd be way easier for them to do this kind of activity because they don't have to involve Sony, right? they can involve like themselves because they own Fox.
Kate, come here. Kate, come. Say hi. Say hi on the podcast.
Podcast hi.
Yeah. So yes, you can bring the cat over. So Kate finally appearing on the podcast.
Hey Kate, how you doing?
How do you feel about potentially James McAvoy and Sophie Turner appearing in Doctor Strange?
I'm confused but delighted.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. It's like you're just like
Jared agrees.
Like why? But I'm not gonna hate. Like I'm not gonna be disappointed by it.
Why not?
You know what I mean?
Why? But why not?
It's just intriguing because like you just read, man, like I mean that's just so much going on. It's everything you as a fan want to fucking see happen. You know, you want
there's that line between like if everything we want as a fan happens, does that make a good movie?
No, not
exactly
always. And
that's event comics that go absolutely crazy like are 50-50 bad, you know?
Exactly. Civil War, awesome. Civil War 2, what the fuck?
Not good.
But yeah, that's the danger. I mean, like, you know, one of the most unbelievable things out of all of them is Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine, simply because like he's been so like he's stepped away from the role and he hasn't really like seemed like he said
a while back that he would come back if he was given something good enough, but not for long term.
Yeah, and I think that's it. It's like it's like something you really have to sell him on, and you know, and same thing with I don't know. Anyway, like I think it's interesting because I've also read that you know they're pulling potential characters from the other Fantastic Four movies, including the you know early 2000s Mr. Fantastic and Jessica Alba's Invisible Woman and stuff, and so.
I don't know. I'm apprehensive about those because they're so far removed, you know?
Yeah, and they weren't really popular. You know what I mean? Like they were
like the difference is that like with the Spider-Man coming back, Tobey Maguire is an icon as that character.
Well, yeah.
It's laid the groundwork for where we are now.
Exactly.
Andrew Garfield was recent enough that he was still in the public consciousness. I don't think those early 2000s Fantastic Four movies never left enough of a dent, you know?
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, they just were never popular enough to like warrant more. You know, people were. I was when I saw them disappointed. You know,
the biggest thing that people remember is that Chris Evans was in that.
Yeah, exactly, and you know. So either way, it'd be cool. It'd be really cool if they pulled off some of that stuff for Doctor Strange. But that movie's obviously going to just be.
I think it's
billed as a celebration of Marvel.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think it's more. I expect to see some X-Men characters.
Yeah,
they've already said that. You know,
like,
and that's X-Men is recent enough that I can totally see why they'd be like, yeah, this is in the theoretical multiverse. You know, like respect. People love these movies. They've got history. They stuck around for as long as they did for a reason.
Yeah.
Even despite the mixed reception, they had longevity.
Yeah.
Pay some respect.
But I also saw on like a big old cast list for this, the supposed cast list for this thing that the like ridiculous stuff where it's like Eric Bana, Edward Norton, Lou Ferrigno, all portraying different Hulks.
That's crazy.
Exactly, but again, you question whether it's gonna happen or not either, no matter how crazy it sounds now, because like we were saying, they just pulled off this impressive stuff with Spider-Man. They've like turned, all of a sudden Doctor Strange 2 has gone from like being billed as a Marvel's horror movie to being billed as like a celebration of all things Marvel until this point. And so, which is not bad. It
might be a bit horror-y for like a minute,
Yeah,
but not long enough.
Yeah, but so the expectations are just all over the place for this.
Yeah.
And what's cool is that like the Doctor Strange movie, and looking back on it, it's fine. It's like
fine.
It's a total yeah. But like to invest all of this in the Doctor Strange title, I think is a really interesting move, because they're really obviously gonna they're pushing to keep the effects of things that happen in his movies across the MCU. So I think it's
they're
interesting.
pretty readily aware too that like Doctor Strange is turning into this weird crux of the MCU where Iron Man's no longer around.
Yeah.
The little cameos that we saw in like phase 3 that Tony Stark would be doing are sort of being done by Doctor Strange at this point.
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
Wanda, like I think
and
for the foreseeable future, those are the two central characters.
They're really putting a stake down in we're exploring the mystic side of the MCU. Like all of that stuff kind of prior. It's really, if you think about it, it's kind of like that. Tech. There's a lot of tech heavy storylines, and like science heavy storylines, which is kind of interesting.
Kate just texted me saying we already had Evan Peters.
Exactly. Over. And so it's just I'm just so intrigued by it now. I was intrigued when they called it a horror movie, and I'm intrigued now that it's like potentially going to be another like wild cameo filled fucking movie.
Give me some horror elements. I'm not going to complain about that.
I'd like some scare out of it. It'd be nice, But
I mean, Doctor Strange is right for it.
Oh, totally. Like, the Doctor Strange franchise is just waiting for him to like visit a dark dimension where he can't see.
The what if fucking episode with Doctor Strange was so unsettling.
Yeah, it's just it's
like it was a step away from horror, that episode, just because it was like ugh.
Yeah,
it was so foreboding. You know what I mean?
I do. It gave you the weebies, and the jeebies, if you will.
All right, shall we call it, my friend, and then we do the rest next week?
I think
we
this
have
is
more
good
to talk about, but we've been going for over an hour.
Yeah, almost hour and a half probably. But it's a good episode. Shit. We had a lot to talk about, but we also, there's just so much, and we even saved some stuff, which is kind of wild. So either way,
crazy.
You got
I hope teaser for next week. Dive more into Peacemaker. Talk more about Book of Boba.
Definitely.
Maybe dive into some other stuff if there's any big news. Otherwise, I do want to, like I said, I do want to talk to you more about Eternals, because I think I agree for the most part, but I have some slight differences of opinion. And I think that movie's interesting to talk about.
It definitely it's another one that just kind of polarized the MCU fan base. I think not polarized, but it showed.
I think everybody can agree it's fine in every way. And forgettable in a lot of ways.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about it in the next episode, but
we'll talk about it.
Everybody,
look for heated debate here on Matinee Edition.
Keep following along as you do. Follow the Instagram Old Heart Radio. Hop on YouTube. You can follow us on there. Well, you can subscribe. Technically, that's what it's called on there.
Cool.
I think following is to save for Spotify and Instagram.
I think so.
And maybe Twitter. Oh yeah, but the Twitter's Old Heart in Space, so it's all there.
This call to action. You got it.
All right, you get it going, dogs. We'll see you next time.
See you later, folks.